me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Kiddo Cave. I believe it's hump day right now, so wishing you a happy hump day over here from a very frigid Helsinki, Finland. Holy shit, it is like 26 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's not even that cold, but goddamn, with the wind, it is just chilling. It is absolutely fucking chilling right now. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about on good old Bitcoin. Before I get into that, I want to announce that I will not be on Twitch today, or very unlikely be on Twitch today. Probably not be on Twitch today. I can you say with good certainty I won't be on Twitch today. We'll be on tomorrow, which I'm very excited about, doing all the same sort of stuff. So looking forward to that. Feel free to join on in. And then of course the Krown trading app is live, baby. And in fact, I'll probably pull it up right here. I do want to check in on open interest today as well. So with all of that said, I should tell you where to find it. It's at app.crowntrading.net. It's 100% free as well. And while it's not necessarily complete right now, it will be completed with each and every passing week. You're going to notice that there's going to be more and more added to it, and perhaps even some more very fun announcements coming in the not so distant future, which I have to keep under wraps right now, but holy shit, I think a lot of people are going to be excited about it, myself included. Anyways, as always, wishing you the best, the haps as well. And before we get into it, I want to at the first and foremost say I might be really fucking wrong about what I said yesterday. Anyways, let's get into the live stream right now. I'm pressing that button, and I'd like to take you to the app, and there she is. Beautiful application on your front screen. And what do we see right on over here? I want to put specific interest on the open interest, which is actually rising a little bit. So very strange behavior. As yesterday when I was looking for that breakdown, this is going to tie in directly to the analysis. So this is all going to come together in like 10 or so minutes, but it needs to start off with this. Open interest has actually gone up. Open interest has actually gone up, which is going to tie into what I'm now going to bring you over to onto the actual charts themselves. Yesterday, I was looking for a breakdown to the downside. We actually did get a breakdown, not to the proverbial target that I was looking for. And realistically, this looks like a very good opportunity for Bitcoin to put in a nice little bear trappy trap. And I do believe that that's likely what's going on here. So what I said yesterday is very likely going to be wrong. I was looking for a break of 92.50. We got that. We did get about a $200 move down to about 90.50ish region, but I was looking for this blue box territory between about 9,000 and 8,950 to get, or sorry, and 8,900 to get ticked right on over here. I think that it's actually very reasonable to believe that we're probably not going to get that right here. It seems to me like everyone's bearish right now. Everyone's talking about pullback targets, whether it be to 8,900, whether it be to 8,500, whether it be for the bears talking about back down to 7,000. I think that this is all misguided right now, because what we're looking at is a break back into the blue box territory, which is typically indicative of a fake out. And with open interest rising, going back right on over here, you would have expected, if that breakdown was going to be legitimate, we would have shot through, not giving you this perfect retest, which you're seeing right now, and open interest would have collapsed as people get liquidated and get taken out of their positions. That's not what we see right now. In fact, it continues to go on onwards and upwards. So I do think that it's relevant to say that we have something new going on. Now we'll get into expected moves in just a second here, but I wanted to start off with that. Now, what I can say is that on the 12-hour dildo time frame, we do have what seems to be a higher low being put in as of right now. And this is the operating term of perhaps the basis of this upcoming analysis. And that is, I can actually run with the assumption that this is likely going to be a fake out to the downside. This is likely going to be a bear trap, as long as we're above the yellow 21 exponential moving average on a 12-hour dildo closing basis. I mean, shit, even just or even if I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive with that, I could say as long as we maintain the prior low on the last 12-hour, which was 80.90, or sorry, not 80.90, 90.90 on Mexico. I'm curious how the other exchanges held up right here. We got 90.75 on Stamp. What about GDEX? 90.78 as well. So in that range, as long as Bitcoin is not just going below there, I don't even need to see a close below. I do think that this is actually likely a higher low being formed right now, and fake out is likely to ensue. And I would readjust that. I would say that I'm going to be right about my call yesterday and wrong about my reassessment today, if and only if we take out either the last 12-hour low, or more importantly and more confidently speaking, close below the 21 exponential moving average on the 12-hour dildo time frame right here, which is currently rising at around 91.50. So with all of that in mind, let's actually go check out the expected moves chart right now, because this is really interesting to me. So I'm going to go over here to the 12-hour, because I just believe it's been getting things better. And as you can see yesterday, the first innovation to the downside, getting both the wicks to the downside actually pretty damn well, by no mistake, of course. And what do we see right now? It's actually squeezing back up to the upside. So to me, we're seeing volatility contract as the expected move starts to move to the upside. And what do you see on this bottom side of the first innovation right here? It's actually coming in at a little bit above 9100, 9115 if you want to be exact at the current moment in time. Why is that relevant? Well, that would say that we have a less than 16% chance to go below there before the closure of this next 12-hour dildo, which is in 2 hours and 50 minutes. Which would obviously be a breakage of that critical area that we just spoke about. So as long as we're above there, we can actually look at this as potentially a higher low in the making. It's not necessarily confirmed just yet. I would say I would consider this a full-on confirmed higher low if Bitcoin can start to close 12-hour dildos back above this last breakdown point here, about 93.30, 93.50. That would start to look really, really, tight for a higher low being put in, and then we could say that, hey, we don't have any hidden bearish divergence. So, hidden bullish divergence in this case, which is concerning, because typically you do want to see hidden bullish divergence in your higher low. That's why I call it continuation divergence. But more importantly, we see historical volatility percentile getting absolutely crushed on the 12-hour. We're going to be looking at a big bad move relatively soon. I mean, there's only been a few times where it's been this low or lower. The last couple times of note, literally coming in at the low of December of 2019. That was quite literally the low at around 6,500. Again, on the 1st of January, I think that was like that secondary low right here. Yes, indeed it was, before this massive move to the upside. Again, not implying a direction, but is implying big move. And of course, all the other times that we've gotten this low, this is preceding this move down right here, this move down right here, this move up right here. So again, not direction neutral, just telling us that a big move's coming. And then of course, the breakout from the last bear market to the last major up from 4,000 to 14,000. So we are going to be looking at a pretty damn big move relatively soon. The question is, where does this one align us? And I do believe that I would probably be looking for this to act as a higher low. Again, as long as we maintain 9150-ish region, that area absolutely critical. And again, going back to the probabilities right over here, we do see that, well, 9150, well within the bounds of this baby. So looking at this right now, I do think that it's actually kind of relevant to think that Bitcoin perhaps does turn does do a little bit of a fake out here. Now, what can we look at to kind of round out this a little bit more and get a wider encompass? I only speak one language and I can't even do it that well. It's like, Jesus Christ, there's people out there who speak like multiple languages. I can't even wrap my head around that. My fucking girlfriend speaks like 2 languages, Finnish being one of them, which is just impossible. It's like, how the fuck do you even, how Anyways, looking at the 4-hour right here, momentum oscillators are suggesting that we do have a little bit of up as they start to turn around here. We do see 4-hour Stochs cross the upside. I think 3-hour Stochs are there as well. 2-hour Stochs going to be a little more mature within that region, and hourly are going to be floating around. They're going to be coming down now. So I would expect Bitcoin to probably fill out the bottom side of this again, maybe test back down, maybe even below a little bit of 9,200. But as long as 9150 doesn't break, I do have a problem looking for that next leg down to 8,900 as we were speaking about yesterday. I think I'm going to be wrong about that. Not only that, but well, we do have some pretty massive hidden bearish divergence in the hourly. So yeah, we probably do come back down right around maybe a little bit below 9,200. But the question is, how does price action react in that range? As long as 9150 is just not violated, I don't really have a huge problem with it. Now let's see how high this hidden bearish divergence does go up until we do have it present on the 2-hour. What about the 3-hour? The 3-hour is gonna have a little bit present as well. Yes. What about the 4-hour? 4-hour is gonna be a little bit more more nasty. It does not have it present actually. So what does that mean? That means that we probably do come back down and test around the lows. That would be that 9150 to 9180-ish region. But granted that we don't really see the same sort of thing on the 4-hour, I'm not so sure it has the momentum to actually break. And you do have to realize that all momentum oscillators on these lower time frames are just going to get beat up a little bit more, which makes it more and more likely that you're going to trigger that bottom algorithmic buy, and just by the nature of them being so low. Of course, that doesn't mean that it can't go low. It can always go low, and it can certainly stay low, but I would only look for that to happen on a trending move if and only if, and this is a key fucking point right now, if and only if we get a 4-hour dildo closing, especially below like 9150. But even just ticking below the last 12-hour low, I think is probably gonna be about right, which is 90.90. So whichever one happens first, 9150 on a 4-hour close, bad, very, very likely we see 8,900 after that. Or if we just tick below about 90, I think it was like 90.75 on most of the exchanges, BitMexico kind of being the odd man out. So I'm more inclined to go with the other exchanges. So that's what I'd say right there. And kind of start off this analysis with, by the same token, you know, assuming that Bitcoin actually does hold this area and doesn't break down, I would look for it to essentially play out the same range as we had for the last week, anywhere between 92.50 to 94.50ish region. This guy right here still getting it right, and I'd be looking for breakouts to 98.50, anywhere above about 95.50 on a 4-hour close, or just a tick above our current high of 96.19. Of course, always, you know, using a tick above rather than a close above is going to be less confidence inducing. But I do believe that in this case, because you did have such a massive liquidity dildo right here in your face, you know, taking out the high of that would be significant and would be indicative of a change of behavior. So with all of that said, I want to go now to the daily, which I haven't spoken anything about, and we can round this out a little bit more. Now the daily is just popping back up to test the red 10 simple moving average. So what does that mean? Well, it gives us a way to kind of base this next daily total close. Do we close above or below it? If we close below it, very, very likely we probably do end up coming down to test around the 21 exponential moving average, somewhere between the 21 and the 200 simple, which is basically that 8,900 to 9,000-ish region that we've been speaking about for the last couple of days as a potential downside target. But if we do close above the 10 simple, I'd really just be looking at this as, you know, that's your higher low right there. I mean, even if we just don't, you know, we don't even necessarily have to close above the 10 simple, but just not break below the current low of yesterday at, again, about 90.75, 90.80, depending upon which exchange that you're using. I would be hesitant to say that that's, you know, that's the right call to be made. So yeah, looking at the greater sphere, I did not check out the probabilities of the daily time frame right here. Let's actually go check it out. We do see that actually the daily, Sorry guys, I can't speak. I don't know what it is, but the last 24 hours, I just have not felt all that sharp or all that well. I mean, less than usually. You know, I know I usually struggle with my words and everything, but I don't know. This last like 24 hours just has not been good. Maybe I'm getting sick. Maybe I got the corona, and this is gonna be Krown's Corona Cave. And well, it's actually kind of fucked up because a couple of weekends ago, when I was trying to see the Northern Lights, I was in this like nice little igloo community, and there was a lot of people from Corona Land, which then I found out right after I left, there was actually the first confirmed case in Finland of the coronavirus coming exactly from that area. So holding my breath right now, but hey, we'll see. I suppose we'll see. We'll just have to wait and find out. Anyways, looking at the daily right here, what does it say? Well, now we do see the ring start to squeeze the upside. That doesn't mean all that much, especially with this much time in the day left to go. What does mean a little bit is just showing the ranges here. So the first deviation on both sides is actually not all, well, it is helpful. It's just not lining up all that well with the other things that we're looking at. The first innovation to the downside showing around 90.50 and to the upside about 94. So it is kind of saying that it's more likely that we do end up back above 92.50, which does kind of close off that range once again, but it is still within the bounds of the first innovation to take out yesterday's low. So what's more likely? Technically, the probabilities are on maintaining the range between 92.50 and 94.50ish region is what it's suggesting right now. That's technically the most likely thing to happen, but it's very, very close here. And I'm not going to be trading this one because I don't feel all that confident. I don't feel all that strong. Daily and higher time frames are disagreeing with the lower time frame. Of course, which one holds more weight? Of course, the dailies. And I should present this as well. We do see that daily Stoch's going to be coming down here. So this analysis today, I want to first and foremost say that due to the conflict of everything that I see, I ain't trading it, and I'm not interested in trading it right here. I'll trade if we do hit the lower blue box territory, I'll trade on the periphery there, and if we do hit the upside objectives, around 96 whatever the fuck it was, or just above 95.50 on a 4-hour total close, I probably would that's where I'm interested in taking trades, but not in the middle of this range. There's too much uncertainty here, and everyone's kind of posturing on both sides of it, saying, I'm sure that everyone's gonna like yell in your face that I was right and I called it. But at the end of the day, man, as far as trading goes, I'd rather take the more obvious trade, and right now I don't really see it. If anything, I think that this could be a fake out though. So looking at the daily right here, I have too many lines going on. Sorry, let me adjust this. We do see that this trend line coming in all the way from our December lows on daily Stokes, which by the way was the low of that current move to the downside all the way down to about 6,600 or wherever it was, is connected on this trend line with the low, with the last macro low that we saw on the daily right here. That's by no mistake. So could it be that the next low that we expect to put in on this guy is going to come on this trend line again? Well, typically yes. And where is that coming in around? It's coming in right around the edge of the bullish control zone. So it is interesting that that matches up there, and this would be more on the bearish side because it would suggest that we do probably get rejected by the 10 simple and come down somewhere around here and set in a higher low, or at least attempt to do a higher low and have a nice bouncy bounce off this territory, which would also be in line with this long-term trend line coming in all the way down from our last major low in early January in this blue box territory, again also alongside the yellow 21 and the 200 simple right here, and also likely, and this is a little bit more speculative, but likely hitting the same trend line on daily Stokes. That would imply that we still have like another couple days to kind of fill out this area to the downside, probably test it, and that could be, you know, perhaps a gentle test. But what you're looking for long term to kind of judge the validity of this, if we actually do get down around there, you know, and if it is going to operate as a higher lows, you actually want to see like a pretty much instant reaction. I shouldn't say instant reaction, instant with comparison to a daily. So my fear is that people are going to hear that sentence and then they're going to say, it didn't bounce in 5 seconds. Fuck, sell, bad, sell. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. If you're going to be looking at a daily, you got to adjust to a daily time frame. What I mean by instant is like by the end of the day, you want to see it essentially bounce back up, back into the top side of the range. That would be indicative that we are, you know, or sorry, not we, but Bitcoin is trying to set in a higher low, and it probably does play out. For right now, there's too many unknowns as far as I'm concerned, and that's not the time when I really want to be trading. Just kind of laying out both sides here, really. Looking at the 2-day, we do see that 2-day kind of came back down and tested the 10 simple. You know, is that an area of potential higher low? Yes, I do think that it could work. We do see that 2-day momentum oscillators are way up there. That's completely fine though. I expect that to happen during strong trending moves, of which, you know, the 2-day RSI was just that we're still kind of in it, and it's testing the exponential in this baby as well. So, you know, the 2-day is a little bit more indicative that this is a bear trap, and we actually do move up from here. And what kind of makes me a little bit more on the side of that is because when looking at the weekly, I have a hard time looking at the weekly again and getting bearish off looking at this. I do think that you know, this could turn around to be bearish. We could see major, massive hidden bearish divergence between this point, this last high right here, and this point right here play out, but that will only be confirmed at the very least at the end of next week, not this week, but literally next week. So if Bitcoin is going to take a massive tumble here, like, you know, the perma bears are telling you that it's coming down to like 8,500 or 8,000 or 7,000 today or this week, that's very unlikely to happen. If it were to happen, it would probably happen over the next couple weeks or later on in the month. So I'm not saying that it can't happen. It's just the timing of these sorts of things is actually relevant to the way that this structure is playing out, which is really important, because a lot of people think that this thing is just going to rip both ways. In the current posturing right now on a weekly, it does favor the bulls. So looking at weekly Stokes again, we see a change in behavior here. We got back above, or not we, but Bitcoin got back above the bearish control zone, which has accurately gotten all the major down moves, like the prolonged down moves, you know, over, you know, 6 months plus, typically speaking. Last one, you know, 2018, pretty much the whole time, you know, breaks down in January, February. And where does it break back out again? Literally March, you know, when Bitcoin went from 4,000 to 5,000 in a snap of a Nicholas Martin's fingers right there. Same thing in middle of September, you know, breaks down below the bearish control zone, breaks back above more recently, and we can go and test the the further hindsight trading of that, you know, back in the past history of Bitcoin. So I would say that, you know, granted the lower time frames and then the weekly, I do think that it's very likely that Bitcoin is actually going to be doing, or if I'm just looking at this week's of price action, I'd say that it's more likely that Bitcoin actually does put in a bear trap here. But if Bitcoin fails to get continuation, let's say going into the end of next week, that's when I'd say, okay, we really have to consider now that this is going to be just another macro lower high. and Bitcoin probably comes back down, maybe below 8,000, maybe retest $7,000 low, and perhaps we even do reach for lower. But that's really, really way and far away. So I want to make it very clear that that interpretation will change if Bitcoin essentially fails to get continuation probably in the next couple of weeks. The probability is going to start to edge to the downside as that goes along. But for right now, I would still kind of suggest, or at least, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but for myself, I would lean towards the upside here. Not only that, but weekly RSI, of course, as well. Getting back above that same area that has held back down all bear markets, anywhere below the 55, 56 marker. That's your bear market. 2018 the whole way through here, breaks above right here. Where? March, of course, and it goes all the way up to to the bullish control zone for the next half year, right? And more recently in September, middle of September, same area breaks down below this region, boom, all the way down, and then we just recently broke back above. What I believe we're getting right now is the retest into this region, which is where I'm actually interested in. But as you can see, it's going to quite literally just invoke the whole process of waiting for time to transpire, because we need to see how the reaction is around that or you don't need to do anything, but I would like to see the reaction around that region. And again, going back into the annals of history, we do say that area is quite well respected. So looking at this right here, and then also looking at major moving averages, we are obviously above all major moving averages. We are above the yellow 21, which does have a positive slope alongside the red 10 simple, which in the history of Bitcoin has always been, macro bullish. Doesn't necessarily mean that we can have pullbacks on the lower time frames, daily being a lower time frame in comparison to, the weekly, of course. But as far as the macro goes, and macro, we're talking about 6 months plus here on an asset like Bitcoin that's only been around for a little bit over 10 years now. It is generally up. And again, just back to this one yourself. As always, don't trust to verify whatever the fuck it is. You see that Bitcoin loves to play off the yellow 21 on its bull runs and sell off in it on its bear dumps. And of course, the slope of the 21 very, 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 very indicative of the validity of price action's relationship to whether it's above or below. And that's kind of like a secondary confirming factor. And then the red 10 simple is kind of like icing on the cakes. And we have all three headed up right now. The next sort of piece of information I'll be looking for is the 10 symbol to cross the upside of the 21. That is, well, that's what you saw all the way over here. That's what we saw all the way down right here. That's what you saw all the way up over here. That's what you saw all the way down over here, and et cetera, et cetera. Don't want to bore you with those points, because realistically, very little, realistically, we're not really talking about all that much different stuff as far as the higher time frames go here. It's actually the lower time frames which are kind of more interesting at this standpoint. And going back to them right now, I want to make sure that I get my words out properly here. I actually do think that this is going to be a bear trap. I do think. Okay, so I think. Fucking hell. Okay, so yes, it probably does come back down and test a little bit below 9,200. The key critical moment is going to be to see how Bitcoin reacts around that, because right now, technically, we are downtrending, on all time frames, like maybe up to a 12-hour. Yeah, we do. No, we're actually not down. Well, we have a lower high. Do we have a lower low in place? Not yet. Not yet. This is potentially a higher low, potentially continuation play in place. Daily still up though. So that's the key critical point, is that I do think that Bitcoin does probably test back down around here. If it holds up and just simply doesn't break 9150 on a 4-hour delta close, I do think that this is going to end up being a bear trap, and you're going to see over the rest of the week just pops back up into that same range that we were in right and over here. Usually when you see a breakdown like this and it doesn't really get the follow through that we're looking for, and remember, we were looking for this breakdown yesterday, but realistically, I wanted to see it come down a little bit more. Like 9,000 to 8,900 is really the targeted region for a move like that. And to see it pop back up right around here almost immediately, especially while everyone on crypto YouTube is like posting titles about Bitcoin pullback targets, where, what the fuck, and everyone's screaming about on crypto Twitter, does make me really consider that this is a bear trap. And if it is a bear trap, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're just gonna fucking moon it up, boys, which is just the opposite side of the same goddamn coin as the fucking doom boys. They're just both silly, non-trader, just cult-like people. realistically, we'd probably just be playing in this range, and that would be considered more or less bullish, or still, be bullishly biased. But realistically, we're not really looking for the next major, or at least I'm not looking for the next major breakout to the upside, as long as Bitcoin is below 95.50 on a 4-hour closing basis, or just does not tick above 96.19 on Mexico. If it can do that, then I actually would target a move all the way up here towards about 98.50, and I would be looking for a short pullback there, and then likely continuation in the 5 digits. So yeah, remember that all major moving averages here are bullish. We do have a golden cross on the daily. Bitcoin is technically not above all major moving averages, but we are seeing everything kind of migrate into a more bullish posture, which is just, simply going to take time. So, for me, it's kind of a waiting game right here. Sometimes there's just not enough information up on the board to make a good, a good play. And I think that this is one of those times, because realistically, if Bitcoin does put in a bear trap right here, it's likely to give you some time, actually. And if it does shoot to the downside right here, I'm not necessarily looking to play the downside, but I would be interested in playing a bounce. Maybe that bounce turns into a higher low on the daily, and then it continues upwards and onwards. There's multiple ways to play this without having to get too one-sided in this. Let's go check out CMEs, see how they're doing. CMEs did fill the gap down around here. I'm sure that people are saying, but it's not exactly to the fucking T. What the fuck, Krown? Well, that's actually pretty fucking close, and close enough is close enough. And hit our blue box. And you know what? This is why I say that CMEs are just an easier chart to watch. They're just a fucking simply easy chart to watch. I saw this yesterday. It came down into the blue box territory. Could that operate as a higher low? Yes, I do consider this. This target was always going to be more important than the 8,900 and 9,000 target from the proverbial breakdown yesterday. So looking at this right here, seeing as this one has been met, I do kind of think the same thing as spot. It probably does come back down and test around this region, but as long as you don't really see any sort of a move below, especially the 200 simple on the hourly, or just a low side of this blue box, which is about 90-80ish region, I think it looks okay. Let's see how momentum oscillators are doing right now. We're going to see hourly Stokes start to come down. How are the 2 hour doing? Buy hourly are popping back up, but buy hourly going to be hitting this trend line right here, it looks like. So going to have to break through that at the bullish control zone if it does want to get a little bit more. I'd say first pass probably does get knocked back down. 3 hour looking okay, and the 3 hour has been pretty damn good on this one. 4 hour also looking okay, and same sort of synopsis there. It's kind of in limbo right now. Like I said, it's gonna be a hairy situation, because we probably do come back down and test below 92. The question is, how does it react right there? So, I should really divorce my opinion away from the analysis and be very direct in saying that hey, my opinion is irrelevant. Even if my opinion's wrong all the fucking time, the analysis is pretty damn stock standard. 91.50 in validation point, likely going lower, 89, 9,000-ish region. As long as that doesn't happen, well, I'd look for it to get retested, but I actually do think that it probably does hold up. And as long as it holds up, you can still have kind of a bullish bias within this consolidation here. Obviously that can change over time, but for now it would be more or less fine. I don't really see any divergences forming on any of the time frames. So yeah, not bad at all. Anyways, okay, cool. What else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing a few other things. Let's go check out GBDC really quick. Haven't checked on him in a little bit of time. 1050, a little bit, pretty much unched. And this does look like a nice little pullback to me. Looks like it is going to try to put in a higher low here. Daily having a good reaction off the 10 simple. I don't really see a huge issue with this. Momentum also is not showing any sort of hidden divergences or anything like that. Or no regular divergences for that matter either. So I am inclined to look at that spike to the downside that we saw yesterday as likely that move. What else do I want to look at? Let's go take a look at traditional markets. So traditional markets actually did end up taking out that 327 area that we spoke about at the beginning of this week, which is what makes me not bearish on it anymore. And what do we look? Jesus, oh my God, the weekly is so powerful. What a powerful girthy green dildo right there. Now I would be looking for a down open to start today, most likely, probably bringing us back down to like 327-ish region. But as long as SPY's above 327, I think that the downside could very well easily be over. I don't feel all that confident about this one. The more that I look at it, actually, I don't feel all that confident about it, to be quite honest with you. What I do want to talk about is something that a lot of people have been talking about recently is Tesla. Tesla is kind of like the cult favorite right now, and you know, I haven't really made too many comments on it because I didn't really think it had topped until, well, actually now, which is why I'm talking about it. In fact, the only comments that I've really been making on it before is just simply that I think it's going higher. And this is fucking perfect here. Actually, let me just get rid of that. Oh, it's Ivan's going live. Nice. Go check out Ivan. He's great. But you know, but as far as this goes, you know, this is a great case study in playing a parabolic rally, right? The reason being because, you know, the reason why I wasn't calling tops beforehand is because I don't call a top on a parabolic on a parabolic move until there is actually something resembling a top in. Like everyone wants to be the genius saying it's going to top at $600, it's going to top at $800, it's going to top at $900, and now I'm 100x in, fucking short, and you know, blows it off one more drive. Now I actually do think that we probably are hitting a top, and the reason why I say that is multiple reasons. We see historical volatility percentile absolutely fucking redlined here, and that's usually going to be good for, you know, a nice, at the very least, local top. We do see, well, Stokes are not going to be good for something like this. RSI is going to be good for something like this. And what do we see here? We actually don't have any divergence in play right now. So I do think that overall it's around the top. Whether it makes another move up to test 1,000 and get that psychological number even just perfectly, I don't really have a strong opinion on. You know, I don't have a strong opinion on that, but I do believe that, you know, it's likely topped out. If it wants to get that next drive of divergence on the daily for you know, for your RSI, that would be extra confirmation. But I do think that is relevant. That is probably seen the highs thus far. Does not look, you know, this looks like the end to me. Volatility on all the lower time frames absolutely redlined as well, but they you know, they can get redlined multiple times. More importantly, on our higher time frames, we're starting to really see it get hot once again. So I do think that, you know, we're hitting climaxes here. Looking at the volume spike, it is climactic, I would say, and I do think that likely this one's going to cool off. You know, again, to kind of wrap it up, probably, you know, does it come back up and try to rally again? Maybe get some more people trapped up at the top. Yes, maybe, but I wouldn't really be looking for any significantly new highs to be made before this one really coming down pretty damn hard. I mean, that was a $100 sell-off at the end of the day, literally last 10 minutes. In fact, if I put this on a 5-minute, you're gonna see a just absolute catastrophic dildo right here. Yeah, Jesus Christ, man, that's 5 minutes of price action, basically doing $100, doing $100 in traditional land. That's insanity. You know, that's pretty normal for Bitcoin price action, but for traditional land, that is like, holy shit, man. Anyways, so yeah, very cool. Anyways, go check out dollar yen. I think it's hitting our upside target at 109.5. Yes, and oh, it actually exceeded it a little bit. Not bad. Not bad at all. This one looks like it's going to pop up more to me. I think that this was a bear trap down around here, and this closure, very, 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 very impressive. So our upside target was met, and I'd actually extend this target once again to probably a little bit above 110, this prior high right here. Looking okay. Hidden bullish divergence is, sorry, we do not have hidden bullish divergence. Apologies about that. Let's go check out pound yen though. How's pound yen doing? Very, very similar price action right here, and probably going to pop back up to 143 3/4, I'd say. Looks very likely. We're finally seeing something of particular note as far as the structure is going. Very good reaction off the 377 exponential moving average as the 89 attempts to cross above it. Momentum also is turning up at the same time. I would say that this one's going to make another run, probably up to the top side of this range, at which point that's when I just kind of stand back and I'm like, all right, I want nothing to do with this fucking piece of hot shit right here, because this one's just notorious for fake outs. I want nothing to do with it at all. Looking at gold, oh man, gold had a nice little swing failure pattern right here and down. Daily Jewel going to be giving you a sell signal right here, or actually already gave you a sell signal right at the top. Now kind of playing out. I do think that this one's going to come back down to 1535. This one's structure is starting to get really destroyed here. Could I be wrong about this though? And this is going to be a little bit of a fake out in the same way that Bitcoin's doing it. Maybe. But if it is, if this is going to be a fake out, what I look for is today to close somewhere around the current range, and then tomorrow to almost immediately pop back up above today's high of 1560, and then I'd look for another move back up here, but it doesn't really look like that right now. Euro dollar getting faded once again, coming down to our low side target. I did say 110, another swipe of 110 after this lower high was put in, and I do believe that is essentially, well, it's pretty much already there. I don't know if I'd look for another bounce off this region though. So let's look at a weekly. Weekly doesn't look good. I don't know. I do think that it comes down a little bit. Well, okay, monthly looks pretty bad. All right, so probably does. Probably does. Probably does have more low to go. I'd wait for last month's low to get taken out. 1099, spot 19. Okay, cool. What else do we want to look at? There's something else at the top of my tongue that I was thinking of checking out. Oh yeah, let's go check out the top shitcoins, because I am very interested to see how they're kind of reacting to the price action of Bitcoin today. And we do see that Mr. Buterin looking, I mean, this is a good response. I do think it's going to get another swipe at 196, maybe even meet our upside target that that I had in a little bit ago at $200, a little bit north of $200 right here. This looks resilient within this region. I don't have a huge issue with it. Daily RSI looks okay. I'm sure people are calling this divergence. It is not. There's no local high confirmed as of right now. And if it is going to play out, it would still take another like 2 days. Daily Stokes going to be coming down, but I don't give a fuck where my Stokes are when things are trending. Litecoin, what do we see here? Looks a lot more like Bitcoin, but above all major moving averages. Actually looks a little more healthy than Bitcoin. I do think that it probably gets another run back up towards $71, maybe 70, 72 and a half, something like that. And basically it's going to do, basically Bitcoin and Litecoin trading together pretty damn well, but actually Litecoin a little bit comparatively stronger. So this is going to be one of the days where I actually do want to look around the greater altcoin sphere, just because, well, what is the general consensus in this market? Stellar, a very nice move. Stellar, I think that it probably has some more to go, probably a little bit above 7 cents, looks good. What do we have on Ripple Me Nipples over here? 28 cents, very nice move as well. Going to be coming up to this level of resistance right here. So probably does pull back a little bit. Oh, it's literally there already. Probably does pull a little bit back from this region, but overall, okay. Well, let's see how it reacts to this region. I think it will pull back from this region a little bit. What about EOS? EOS looking constructive above all major movement averages, flagging out at a high level, about to get a golden cross. I'd say that's more or less good. Neo, good. I'd say it's looking for another run towards 13.5 bucks. Tron, okay. Probably looking for a run towards a little bit north of 2 cents. It's actually kind of already at 2 cents, but probably somewhere in this region right here around the prior high. Bcash, same thing, consolidating to a very high level. 21's about to cross a 377, right at resistance. I think that that's okay. Does it pull back again down to this region first, or does it try and move to the upside first? It's in a good posture right now. I don't think it's all that bad. Zcash looks toppy. Zcash does look toppy. Major bearish divergence going on here too. I'd be looking for a move back down to like 57.25. I'm sure people are calling this bearish divergence as well. This is a really tough call. This is a really tough call. BNB looks like it wants to make a run towards 19.5 bucks. Most, on the whole though, I would say that most altcoins look constructive, consolidating at highs, and probably looking to take another leg up. So I would say that that ties in with the earlier bias of Bitcoin putting in a bear trap here, and probably trying again at the very least, towards this region around like 9350 to 9400ish region. And if it can close a daily there, then really things start to look like this is a higher low being put in on the medium time frames, and that's going to set up the macro for an actual push to make a higher high in the weekly. So I'm going to start to wrap up this bitch right now. I realize this is not necessarily the most shortest video, but fuck it. Oh well, fuck it. Anyways, just listen to more of my autistic ramblings. So yeah. if I have to, if I'm going to wrap up this talk right here, I do think that Bitcoin probably comes back down and tests around 92, maybe a little bit below 92. But I do think that this is likely going to be a bear trap. I'm going to be wrong about the target yesterday. I think that this one got front ran by about $50, or a little bit more than $50 actually. And as long as it's closing above 91.50 on a 4-hour total closing basis, I'm not looking for this area to get hit down here. Now, if 91.50 does get violated on a 4-hour, maybe even a 2-hour, let's go check out a 2-hour. Yeah, 2-hour probably does get it. 2-hour, but it has to be below like 91.40 actually. That's kind of like a last little cleft right there. Then yes, I would be looking for that move down to 8,900 and 9,000-ish region and probably bounce there. But assuming that it doesn't break, I do think that this operates as a bear trap. Bitcoin probably pops back up towards around 9,350 to 9,400-ish region. This is more in line with the probabilities around the daily total close, which do suggest that it's a little bit less than 16% chance to close below 91.50 today, which I think is certainly favoring the bulls right now. Not necessarily the bulls. I mean, it's favoring consolidation in the sideways range right here. And the top side of the first innovation, actually in line, actually right smack dab in the middle of my upside first target at 93.50 to 9,400-ish region. What's most likely to happen here is, I think that we kind of do a little bit of a small bear trap, pop back up into the median of the range, and then figure it out over the rest of the week. And realistically, the bigger, the greater range, as a whole is going to be readjusted, and we're going to see something like this. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to flip around these two areas right here. So it's no longer 92.50 to 9,200. It's 9,200 to 91.50-ish region with special importance on the 91.50 right here. So yeah, looks okay to me. And judging off the greater sphere of of all the altcoins, it looks like most of them are acting positively. Some outliers here and there, which do present a little bit of problems. But I would say, if I had to make a majority statement, most of them look like they want to give another try higher, and that would align with the rest of the market just mostly following each other. In this case, Bitcoin probably popping back up into this range right here. I would get bullish for a move to 98.50 if we do see a 4-hour close above 95.50 or a tick above 96.19 most likely. And a close below 91.50, I'd be looking at a move towards 8,900 to 9,100, or sorry, not 91, but 8,900 to 9,000-ish region. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. I want to wish you well. I want to wish you the best as always, because why the fuck not? I am hungry as fuck as I look at my phone. And that's going to do it for right now. Take care, and until next time.